Tonight, the extreme weather stoking travel chaos. Airport delays stacking up across the country. The East Coast pummeled by heavy rains and flash floods, water pouring into the subways. One little girl in New Jersey saved from a car trapped in rising flood waters. Widespread delays caused by that weather and airport staffing shortages. The new warning tonight about a potentially disastrous holiday travel season if the shutdown doesn't end. Also tonight, total devastation in Jamaica. We'll show you one town where 90% of the roofs are gone. Our team in Montego Bay, where thousands of tourists are stranded. 70% of the country still without power. Clash of the superpowers. President Trump and China's leader face to face. The man President Trump calls a tough negotiator, barely breaking a smile. Did Trump's charm offensive work? Prince no more, the king stripping his brother Andrew of his prince title and evicting him from the royal mansion. The latest fallout over his connection with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. I thought I had died. The emotional testimony from the first grade teacher who was shot by her own student. Plus the new arrest related to the overdose death of Robert De Niro's grandson, the sweeping crackdown here in New York City. Surveillance video capturing the chilling moments a girl rushed into her home as a group of armed suspects chased after her. And my one-on-one interview with the founder of Wikipedia, his 7 rules of trust in the age of so much misinformation. Plus, is Wikipedia biased? What he says. Top story starts right now. And good evening. We begin with the severe weather pummeling the East Coast. We're learning tonight at least one person has died from the flash floods as water poured into their basement. This is the scene in New York City. Drivers sitting on their trapped cars while others run away from rushing waters. Flash flood warnings issued with officials urging drivers to avoid waterlogged roads. Look at that. But the subway is also a mess. Water streaming through the ceilings of the station in Brooklyn as commuters try to make it home. And scary moments in New Jersey. This is why a young girl rescued from a flooded car, a massive tree falling on this Bergen County home as well. And drone footage from this beach town in Delaware showing the streets, and they look a little bit like rivers. Tonight's weather wallop hitting airports hard with more than 5,000 delays and 1,000 cancellations nationwide. The weather woes adding pressure to airports already on the brink because a growing staffing crisis at airports across the country, strained by the ongoing government shutdown, has no end in sight. And the warning from the White House and from the airlines tonight, if Congress can't find a solution before the holiday travel season, what happens? NBC's Tom Costello covering it all.
Up and down the East Coast, pounding rain, flooding, downed trees, and snarled traffic. In New York City, water pouring into the subway system.
It's going to be okay, Elisa.
In Bayonne, New Jersey, firefighters rescued a family from a flooded underpass. The weather also made it a bad day to fly, forcing the FAA to issue ground stops and delays at major airports, from Boston through New York to Philly and D.C. By late afternoon, more than 5,000 flight delays, as long as 4 hours at JFK, made worse by air traffic controllers working without a paycheck. And now a warning about the impacts of the shutdown on holiday air travel.
Look, it could be a disaster. It really could be, because at that point you're talking about people have missed 3 paychecks. They've missed 4 paychecks. How many of them are not going to show up for work?
Today, the vice president blamed Democrats for voting against a Republican spending bill that would reopen the government. Adding to the pressure on Democrats today, Delta and United also urged Congress to pass a clean resolution, known as a CR, to end the shutdown.
Let's get a clean CR and get that negotiation done behind closed doors without the pressure and without putting the American workers and the American economy at risk.
Feeling the heat, Democrats who are demanding more health care spending before reopening the government pushed back.
We're trying to lift up the quality of life of the American people.
Tom Costello joins us tonight. Tom, I also know you're tracking 2 other stories. We're getting late word tonight about an alarming incident on a JetBlue flight and what's happening in the city of Orlando.
Yeah, that's right. So we had a JetBlue flight from Cancun to Newark diverted to Tampa after experiencing a rapid drop in altitude. When they landed, EMS crews transported several passengers and crew members to a local hospital, and that plane is right now out of service being inspected. Meanwhile, an air traffic control staffing shortage in Orlando means that arriving flights tonight will not be coming into Orlando after a certain time in the evening. Departing flights, so far, we're not aware that they could be affected, Tom.
Yeah, and then I want to kind of go back to this holiday travel scenario. We don't know what's going to happen in about 3 weeks' time, right, before the Thanksgiving travel season really kicks in. But what could happen if there's still a government shutdown?
Well, listen, if 2019 is any template here, 2019 on the shutdown, it was the second missed paycheck that really started a domino effect with more and more air traffic controllers calling out sick in protest or because they took a second job. TSA officers also not showing up to work for the same reason. They have to feed their families. And then we saw huge, long lines spiraling. Of course, that was back in 2019. So if we now go into the Thanksgiving travel rush, which starts in about 3 weeks, and if people are still missing their paychecks, you could see the scenario really develop and really kind of escalate, if you will. In addition, keeping in mind that, November 1st is Saturday and the weather turns cold and we could have snow flying. So this could be a really bad recipe for the Thanksgiving travel rush. That's what the airlines are worried about.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what happens with the shutdown as well. Okay, Tom, we thank you for that. I want to bring in NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns because it has been a wild weather day out there. The storm moved in fast and dropped a ton of rain.
Yeah, tropical-like rainfall in a short period of time in the urban areas. Just couldn't handle it. The drainage systems just got overwhelmed, and that's why you saw water in New York City going on the subways, and the leaves are down too, so the storm drains aren't working as well as they normally would. And that scenario is still playing out. We had a lot of flooding reports on the Jersey Shore, also New York City, southern Connecticut, and now it's still pouring in areas of I-95 up through southern Connecticut and out on areas of Long Island. This will all pivot up towards Boston as we go throughout this evening. It'll be a quick 1 to maybe 2 inches of rainfall. And look at the airports. They're still a mess. We're still at 4 hours arrival delays on average at LaGuardia. JFK 105. Boston's up to about 2 hours too. And so it's just been a horrific day for anyone trying to get anywhere in the Northeast and connecting flights in between. Tonight, this all heads up into areas of Maine. Behind it, it's going to be very windy and cold for Halloween for a lot of people. Wind advisory is already up for almost 50 million people. And, Tom, we're going to have wind chills in the 30s and 40s for a lot of these kids. It's not going to be a pretty trick-or-treat forecast in the Northeast tomorrow.
Yeah, and then before you go, which is terrible for all those kids out there, before you go, we're going to check in with George Solis in just a few minutes. What is the latest on Melissa, and where is it headed now?
Yeah, so the storm is at its closest approach now to Bermuda over the next about 5 to 6 hours. It is still a Category 2 hurricane, and it is racing at 30 miles per hour. It's going to miss Bermuda by about 70 to 100 miles. They're going to get into the tropical storm winds, but they should not have a lot of significant damage. After this, we are done with Melissa. It's going to be absorbed by the big storm that's now plaguing us in the Northeast.
All right, Bill Cairns for us. Bill, we thank you. We are going to head to Jamaica now, beginning that long process of assessing the damage after Hurricane Melissa tore through the Caribbean, leaving a trail of devastation. Entire neighborhoods in ruin as thousands of tourists scramble to find flights home. George Solis is on the ground in Montego Bay tonight.
Tonight, Jamaica's coastline battered, communities completely destroyed. In the hard-hit town of Black River, roofs were blown off 90% of buildings. The difficult process of cleaning up now just beginning.
I try to be strong with them, but deep inside I'm crying. I'm really, really crying.
Alfred Hines is trying to salvage what he can after narrowly escaping Melissa's floodwaters.
I see the water at my waist, and about 10 minutes time, I see it around my neck here, and I make my escape.
Melissa's death toll across the Caribbean now at 36. Today on the road to Montego Bay, we encountered massive destruction, along with a frantic search for cell signal and gas.
This right here is a sight to see. People stopping and pulling over on the side of the road. This is the first bit of cell phone service people have been able to get here.
And this is the first time I've been able to get out and speak to family.
I'm sure they're worried sick about you.
More than 70% of the island still without power.
This is the scene in Trelawney, just outside of Montego Bay, as the search for gas grows more desperate. There are two lines here, one for cars, one for people. Police here on the ground to make sure everything stays orderly.
Then we finally reach Montego Bay.
Resorts and hotel across the tourist hotspot suffering extreme damage. Some tourists having to relocate, others hoping they can find a flight out.
Amanda Miller is trying to get home to Florida.
I love Jamaica, but I'm ready to go home.
How many tourists are stranded at your hotel now?
Oh, God, a lot.
At the Kingston airport today, a welcome sight. Aid starting to come in and tourists starting to get out. That's where we met Jamitra Alexander.
Resort right now at Montego Bay. This water is rising so fast.
After a terrifying experience riding out Melissa in Montego Bay, She was relieved to score a seat on one of the first flights back to the U.S.
We didn't even sleep last night. As soon as we found out that we had a flight, we did not sleep. We're not missing this flight.
George Solis joins us tonight from Montego Bay, Jamaica. George, the Montego Bay airport sustained some serious damage in all of this, and a lot of the tourists there are still trying to get out. What more do we know on when it could reopen?
Yeah, Tom, and I do want to show you something. Check out this hotel here in Montego Bay. Believe it or not, people are actually staying here. It's actually a soccer team. They're waiting to see if they can get a flight out of here. As for the airport in Montego Bay, well, officials saying it is still without power. That means it could take weeks for it to be fully operational, Tom.
Weeks. Okay. George Solis, George, we thank you. President Trump is back home tonight after his three-country Asia tour that concluded with a high-stakes meeting with China's leader. Both sides now agreeing to a truce in the trade war. But before the meeting, President Trump making headlines, instructing the Department of Defense to test its nuclear weapons for the first time in decades. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell reports.
Back from Asia and bringing home a key reset with China over tariffs and trade. President Trump and China's Xi Jinping shoulder to shoulder for the first time in 6 years. President Trump with a charm offensive.
And we're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt. But he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good.
China's President Xi appearing all business.
President Xi is a great leader of a great country.
We do not always see eye to eye with each other, and it is normal.
A handshake and a whisper as they parted ways. The two economic superpowers pulling back from a costly standoff with a one-year pact.
On the scale from 0 to 10, with 10 being the best, I would say the meeting was a 12. I think it was a 12.
On tariffs, President Trump reduced steep taxes on Chinese imports by 10%. In exchange, China will suspend restrictions on rare earth materials, work to reduce the flow of fentanyl to the U.S., and resume buying soybeans from American farmers. Heading into the meeting, the president injected a new uncertainty with a post that instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis with China and Russia. Today, I asked Vice President Vance to explain. What's your understanding of his intention?
The Russians have a large nuclear arsenal. The Chinese have a large nuclear arsenal. Sometimes you've got to test it to make sure that it's functioning and working properly.
Kelly joins us tonight from the White House. Kelly, what more are we learning about President Trump's comments about resuming nuclear testing?
Well, Tom, it was provocative because the United States has not tested its nuclear weapons since 1992 for a number of different reasons. And so what is the president really getting at? Does he want those warheads tested? Does he want the missile delivery systems to be tested? And that remains unclear. He was asked by reporters on Air Force One. I had a conversation with the vice president and specifically put that question to him, and he talked about the two big adversaries, Russia and China, and their arsenals, but not that specific question. So it appears it will take some time to sort it out. The Department of Energy, of course, controls the nuclear stockpile. The Department of Defense, or Department of War, as the president has changed it to, they would be handling the delivery system. So it was a provocative thing for the president to say. Perhaps that was part of his positioning himself before going into the meeting. We still have a lot of questions about what it really means. Tom?
Okay, Kelly O'Donnell at the White House. Now to that stunning testimony in a Virginia courtroom today. The teacher shot by her 6-year-old student at school, describing the moments after she was hit, saying, quote, "I thought I was on my way to heaven." NBC's Stephanie Gosk has more.
In her own words,
"I thought I had died."
Former first-grade teacher Abigail Werner described the horror of being shot by a 6-year-old student at Virginia's Rich Neck Elementary School.
"I thought I was either on my way to heaven or in heaven."
Today's Werner took the stand in the civil trial against her former assistant principal, Ebony Parker, who she accuses of ignoring multiple warnings that a student had a gun back in early 2023.
"My next memory is I see two coworkers around me and I process that I'm hurt."
The bullet tore through her hand and lodged in her chest, just missing her heart.
Overall, I would say I do struggle with doing things,
In cross-examination, defense attorneys focused on Zwerner's actions that day.
Did you remove his backpack from the classroom?
No.
Did you search his backpack?
No.
Especially after she learned her student may have brought a weapon to school.
You still hadn't removed JT from the classroom?
No.
They also questioned whether Zwerner was really struggling from long-term physical and mental health issues. Showing direct messages Zwerner sent to both Taylor Swift and the music group Odessa, praising them after going to their live shows. The defense asked repeated questions about her decision to go to cosmetology school.
All right. Stephanie Goss joins us now live in studio. Stephanie, a lot of people are going to be watching this and wondering if all these people knew the child may have a gun in his backpack, why didn't they do anything?
Well, there has been a lot of conversation, Tom, about protocol during this trial. And the issue is that even if there's a suspicion that the child might have something inappropriate, you can't just search a bag. You can't just search a kid. And so...
For first grade?
You cannot do that. But when it comes to a gun, it certainly does seem, from the casual outside observer, that there should be a faster, quicker way to determine whether a child has brought a gun into school. And that seems to have failed in this case terribly.
And then, Stephanie, again, remind us what happens in the trial next. We've been following it all week.
Yeah, right. So they're not in court tomorrow. They've got some motions and things that they might hear remotely. The defense will be back on Monday with their witnesses as well. And it probably will wrap up next week.
Okay, Stephanie Goss been tracking this all week. We appreciate it. Okay, also tonight, a Baltimore police officer is now suspended after a viral video showed him aggressively chasing a man with his cruiser. Baltimore's police commissioner calling the incident not only disturbing, but alarming. Here's Morgan Chesky.
Tonight, this Baltimore police encounter under investigation. Video appears to show the officer drive under the grass and nearly run a man down in a patrol car.
You gonna hit him with the car?
The Tuesday chase captures the officer driving onto a sidewalk before returning to the street. Witnesses watching as the cruiser sped around the block in pursuit.
Like automatic, full speed, try to hit him and all that. So my man started running. He's like, he running for his life now. He ain't gonna stop.
Slick Brown shooting this video, capturing the officer speeding down an alley where seconds later, you hear him crash.
He's crashing out, bro.
The encounter all stemming after witnesses say the officer told a group of men to move off the street.
Get a little hot. Get a little hot. I need you guys to take a lap.
The police commissioner stating, "This is not how we expect our officers to behave, and this incident does not reflect the values or standards of the Baltimore Police Department." Tonight, Baltimore police say the officer's police powers have been suspended.
Okay, Morgan Chesky joins us. Morgan, this video is so bizarre. We've been watching it throughout the day in the newsroom. Do we have any more details on how the whole chase started and why the officer would be compelled to do that in any way?
Yeah, Tom, that remains one of the most critical questions here. And we did reach out to Baltimore PD to see if they could corroborate the witness's story that one officer asked those men to just get out of the street, which led to this encounter. They say because this is an ongoing internal investigation, they cannot comment at this time. We do know, however, that they plan on reviewing that officer's body cam in hopes of learning more. Meanwhile, the mayor of Baltimore calling this whole incident tonight deeply concerning. Tom.
Okay, Morgan Chesky for us. Morgan, thank you. Now to the urgent manhunt in North Carolina. Law enforcement looking for a 24-year-old wanted for the murder of his own grandmother. The Craven County Sheriff's Office warning that Dominic Connolly, you see him right here, is considered armed and dangerous. Schools in the area closing today as the search intensifies. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist has been monitoring this one for us today. Aaron, this manhunt started after the suspect pulled a knife on a deputy?
Well, yeah, Tom, that's when the search for him really did ramp up. This was last night when someone called police saying that they had seen the suspect that investigators had been looking for several days after the death of his grandmother. They saw him in a fast food restaurant. An officer went there, confronted him in the bathroom, and the sheriff says the suspect here, Mr. Connolly, pulled out a knife and stabbed the officer and then took off into an apartment complex and then subsequently into a wooded area nearby in Vanceboro, North Carolina. That officer was hurt. He went to the hospital. He is out of the hospital now and expected to make a full recovery. This really all started on Saturday when Connolly's grandmother was found dead inside her home that had been set on fire, apparently. Police started looking for him then, but now really this represents an escalation where it's not just a domestic issue anymore. This is someone who police clearly believe is dangerous to the community. They've brought in help from around the state. They brought in help from other states, the federal government as well, to begin this search effort with helicopters. There are dogs as well that have been brought in from the wildlife law enforcement agency there to try to find him before he can hurt anyone else, the sheriff says. It's also worth noting that the sheriff says that we are hot on his heels. They believe that he is still in the area. They say that he's leaving a trail. They've been able to find a car that he took. They've been able to find bicycles as well that he took. And so they're saying that at this point, they do believe he's dangerous. They're asking people to be very cautious in the area. You noted that schools were closed today. I did reach out and ask if that would be the case again tomorrow. I was told that that decision would be made later tonight. And Tom, I'll leave you with this. Someone did ask the sheriff, one of the reporters today asked if Halloween would be impacted by this search. The sheriff first said that he's recommending the community lay low for Halloween, and then he sort of backed off that a little bit and said that there would be an increased law enforcement presence all around Craven County, but he wants people to be very cautious because they do believe that Connolly is still in the area.
Yeah, it could be very, very dangerous if they don't catch him. All right, Aaron, we thank you for that. We head overseas tonight. A big headline there. Britain's Prince Andrew is officially losing his royal titles. Buckingham Palace announcing the move after growing pressure over his alleged ties to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. NBC's Molly Hunter's in London.
Tonight, effective immediately, Prince Andrew will be formally stripped of his royal titles. In a statement, Buckingham Palace announced King Charles initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of his younger brother, who will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The palace acknowledging the pain of the victims while saying the move was necessary despite Andrew continuing to deny the allegations against him. Tonight, a statement from the family of Virginia Giuffre, who died by suicide in April and alleged Andrew had sex with her as a teenager. Today, an ordinary American girl from an ordinary American family brought down a British prince. As part of the negotiations with the palace, Andrew will leave his home at Royal Lodge and move to the royal family's private Sandringham estate. As for his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie will keep their titles, and tonight, Andrew remains 8th in line to the throne.
And Tom, you'll remember 2 weeks ago, Prince Andrew put out a statement voluntarily giving up his other titles. Well, that clearly wasn't enough. Tonight, it's a statement from the king, and we understand Andrew didn't object. Tom?
Molly Hunter from London. We're back in a moment with the new arrest connected to the overdose death of Robert De Niro's grandson, what we're learning tonight, and the Trump administration cutting the number of refugees allowed into the country, what it means for migrants coming to the U.S. Plus, the bizarre scene in court, a police officer appearing in a virtual hearing without any pants. We'll explain ahead on Top Story. We are back now with the announcement of multiple arrests in New York City. The suspects, part of an alleged drug trafficking ring that targeted teens on social media. Among the victims, Robert De Niro's grandson, Leandro De Niro, who died of an overdose in 2023, and Akira Stein, the daughter of Blondie co-founder Chris Stein. Ellison Barber joins us now to break down what we know. Ellison, this is all so sad. What more did prosecutors reveal about this case?
Yeah, so look, they say that they charged these people because, in their words, they exploited people who were struggling with addiction to make a profit. The 5 people charged here, Bruce Epperson, Eddie Barrett, Grant McIver, John Nicholas, and Roy Nicholas, are accused of being part of a criminal network that, according to the indictment, distributed thousands of counterfeit prescription opioid pills laced with fentanyl to teens and young adults living in New York City. Those 5 defendants allegedly operated 3 overlapping drug businesses and worked with 2 other drug dealers who were referred to as co-conspirator 1 and co-conspirator 2 to distribute and sell thousands of fentanyl pills, including the pills that killed De Niro's grandson, Leandro, as well as Akira Stein, and one other 19-year-old who is not named publicly. Akira's father, Blondie guitarist Chris Stein, posted a statement on Instagram just a couple of hours ago thanking law enforcement and prosecutors for, quote, this hope of some justice for her. At the press conference today, Tom, prosecutors said they hope this brings some closures to the families, but they also know this is a reminder of all that they have lost and therefore a challenging day for them as well.
Yeah, what kind of evidence did they present in this indictment?
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting because they went through a lot, and federal prosecutors are saying that the defendants here really relied on using popular social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat to advertise and distribute these pills. And specifically, they say, to target young people, despite knowing they were incredibly deadly. On page 9 of the indictment here, federal prosecutors included a text exchange between one of the victims, believed to be Akira Stein, and the defendant, John Nicholas, where she told him she overdosed on pills that he sold her and told him to, quote, warn customers the batch might be extra strong. Then on page 15 here, there's a text exchange between co-conspirator 1 and victim 3, who is believed to be Leandro De Niro Rodriguez, where the dealer tells him, I don't want to kill you, and that he doesn't like, quote, serving some of the pills because he says they are not prescription drugs. Ultimately, prosecutors say 3 fentanyl pills and a Xanax pill were delivered to the victim around 9:15 p.m. on July 1st, 2023. He was found dead the morning of July 2nd, and police say 2 of the 3 fentanyl pills were still at the scene there.
It's also terrible. Okay, Ellison, thanks for bringing us that story. Still to come on Top Story, Sean Diddy Combs now being transferred to a federal prison, what we're learning about the move. Plus, the attempted home invasion caught on camera. Look at this, a group of armed suspects chasing after this young girl, why police say her quick thinking helped keep her family safe. But first, Top Story's top moment. In preparation for Halloween, Melinda North from New York annually decorates her house with scary decorations she can find. While preparing her setup this year, a bus full of kids from her neighborhood drove by and got the first scare. Take a listen. That's a scary lawn. That whole scene's pretty funny. Melinda says she loves to keep the spirit and fun of Halloween alive with her decorations every year. Stay with us. More news on the way. We're back now with the Cost of Denial, our series on the challenges Americans face with their insurance providers. Tonight, the family that drained their retirement savings to pay for the surgery their daughter desperately needed, and how they believe our reporting changed everything for their daughter. Here's Camila Bernal.
Minutes before her 10-hour surgery, Olivia Olson is feeling confident.
I think I look beautiful, and I don't really care what other people think of me.
The 8-year-old was born with microtia, a rare condition that meant her left ear never fully developed.
I just want to get a big ear so people don't bully me in the future.
Next thing you know, you'll be waking up.
Her parents, Annie and Dave, knew since birth Olivia would need an operation to reconstruct her ear.
We had no doubt in our minds that the insurance was going to cover it.
But Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield repeatedly said that it wouldn't cover Dr. Cheryl Lewin, a California-based specialist in microtia restoration, because she was outside of the insurer's network.
We got a denial letter, and it was literally like a stab in the heart.
The family had sought what's known as a gap exception, allowing them to use their in-network benefits for an out-of-network provider.
This particular operation does not allow for any even minute level of imperfection.
Instead, Anthem gave the Olsons a list of 6 in-network doctors. We reached out to all 6 of them, and not a single one said they performed the surgery.
Everything was like kicking you when you're down.
Here, she's so excited about her surgery, might have to tell her we might have to cancel it. How are we going to come up with this money?
Determined, they borrowed money from family, used credit cards, and pulled a large portion of the surgery's roughly $100,000 cost from Dave's retirement fund.
Did you ever hesitate and say, maybe I shouldn't take money out of my 401k?
So honestly, no. I'm getting emotional. To me, it's my responsibility as a parent to make sure that my kids have everything that they need.
NBC News asked Anthem about Olivia's case 2 days before her surgery, the family going forward with or without coverage. Then, on the day of, we were there in the operating room when her parents received the news.
And then at the 11th hour during the surgery, you say that you're going to cover it. It's like, what?
With surgery already underway, the Olsons learned Anthem would cover Dr. Lewin as an in-network provider.
Why do you think it got approved?
You guys, 100% NBC, your involvement.
I mean, that's the only...
There's no other way.
In a statement, Anthem says, "We are happy that the member was able to receive the treatment she needed. Even though the member's plan does not cover out-of-network providers, when an in-network provider is available, we were able to make a unique one-time exception to ensure her care was not delayed." Dr. Lewin told us getting these exceptions granted used to be easier.
Do you think it's just going to get harder and harder to get in-network coverage or to get the appeals overturned?
I do. I do think it's just become kind of a slow trend that's very much peaked in the last year. It's been rough, and we've had to work much harder to get a negotiation agreed upon.
Big day today.
2 weeks after surgery, the big reveal.
Big ear day, huh?
Big ear day.
1, 2, 3.
Wow! Look at that ear!
It looks amazing.
And insurance, the furthest thing from Olivia's mind.
When it's fully recovered, I'm going to be like, okay, that was just a short little bump, and then I'll just go on with the rest of my life.
Camila joins us now. We are so happy for Olivia. How is she doing tonight?
She's great, Tom. She is going to need about a year for that ear to fully recover, and she will need a hearing implant, but the entire family is thrilled that this surgery was a success. Look, we talked to many doctors around the country who use the gap exception, and it's very common. This is what's normally used when you need a specialist. Unfortunately, though, Dr. Cheryl Lewin tells me she already has 2 patients with Anthem, 2 children who have surgery scheduled that already got denied. So she is hoping that this maybe makes an impact and changes the way that Anthem is looking at all of this. Anthem, on their part, saying that they are willing to talk to Dr. Cheryl Lewin to see if she can be in network. Tom?
Camila Bernal, great job, you and your team on this one. And if you have a story you want to share for this series, email us at costofdenial@nbcuni.com. All right, we're turning now to Top Stories news feed. The Trump administration restricting how many refugees are let into the country. A notice on the Federal Registry shows the number will be capped at 7,500 next year, and most will be white South Africans. It's a major decrease from last year's limit of 125,000 set under President Biden. The memo says the move is justified by humanitarian concerns or is in the national interest. A major update tonight on Sean Diddy Combs, a source close to the music mogul, telling NBC News he's now being transferred to a federal prison, but it's unclear which one he's being moved to. He's already spent more than a year behind bars at a detention center in Brooklyn. He was sentenced on interstate prostitution charges and is expected to be released in 2028. And terrifying video from Northern California of what police are calling an attempted home invasion. Look at this. Surveillance video shows a young girl walking down her driveway when 4 suspects hop out of a car and run towards her house. Police say some of them were armed with handguns. The little girl quickly sprints inside, tells her family to call 911 before the suspects took off. And Ford is recalling some of the most popular cars in the U.S. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration announcing the recall covers nearly 230,000 vehicles, including Bronco SUVs, Explorers, and Lincoln models. The issues range from air bubbles in the windshield glass to loose seat frames. Okay. Now to the moment that left one judge stunned. It was business as usual until a police officer showed up to his virtual court appearance in full uniform. Well, almost. The pantless appointment now going viral. NBC's Adrian Broadus has this one.
Tonight, a Detroit police officer getting more exposure than expected for this now viral court appearance.
Can you put your appearance on the record, please?
Yes, Officer Jackson, badge number 3919. Out of the 12th precinct.
You got some pants on, officer?
No, sir.
Officer Jackson, okay.
That's Judge Sean Perkins of the 36th District Court doing his best to ignore the underdressed officer. That same judge back in the headlines after this viral moment in May. The mood in his courtroom turning sticky after a tiff over a PB&J.
So when I called...
No, we can't talk at the same time.
Well, I apologize for being late. Excuse me.
Stop. Put whatever you're trying to prepare down.
I'm going to be my daughter.
Get your coat. You got to put your properly dressed on. I am properly
dressed. I have on a T-shirt. I am properly dressed.
Is that a robe?
A lawyer testing a Texas judge's patience, putting the cat in catastrophe during this Zoom.
I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat. There we go.
There we go. We're live streaming to YouTube, which I'm sure has had a great chuckle at our technical difficulties.
And finally, a Colorado lawyer sending himself to the doghouse, mortified after accidentally using a pet name in court.
Let's go with what happened in the case.
But honey, oh my God, I'm sorry. That I don't know what to say to that. I apologize.
Okay.
And back in Detroit, still no explanation as to why that officer wasn't wearing pants. The chief of police did release a statement saying, in part, the Detroit Police Department requires its officers to represent themselves in a dignified and professional manner when attending court proceedings. He also apologized for what happened during that virtual appearance. Tom?
Adrian Broadus, I'm sorry that so many of those incidents were just funny. Coming up next, the founder of Wikipedia joins Top Story. How he got the idea for the site, now viewed billions of times every month. And we ask him, is Wikipedia biased? As he shares his 7 rules of trust. Our conversation next. Finally tonight, who do you trust? It's a question you have to consider when you're looking for information. And tonight we're talking about one of the biggest sources of information in the world, Wikipedia. Wikipedia says that in 1 month, the English version of the site alone got roughly 11 billion page views. Over a year, it was 130 billion. And if you look across all the Wikimedia products, 300 billion, more than 35 times the population of the world. Pretty incredible. Now, the founder of Wikipedia, Jimmy Wales, is writing about what he sees as the keys to why so many people turn to his site. It's called The 7 Rules of Trust, a blueprint for building things that last. And Jimmy Wales joins us tonight in our Top Story Spotlight interview. Jimmy, congratulations on the book, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Wikipedia is an incredible product. Let's start from the very beginning. Where did the name come from?
So the name Wikipedia, obviously encyclopedia, it sounds similar, but Wiki is the software that we use. It means a website anyone can edit, and the word comes from a Hawaiian word, wiki, which means quick. So if you're in Maui and you take the bus to the airport, it's called the Wiki bus.
Who are Wikipedians?
So we're a bunch of nerds. We're really a very geeky community. It's all kinds of people, all different ages. But what they share is an interest in knowledge and sharing knowledge and learning from each other and just geeking out over making Wikipedia.
The vast majority of people that contribute to the site are volunteers.
That's right.
300 billion page views. It's incredible. How big is your staff?
We're several hundred people, but that's pretty small considering the scope of what we're doing and the size of the website. And, you know, we're a nonprofit organization, so we're a charity. And so we have limited staff.
That leads me to my next question. You are not an internet billionaire.
That is true.
Yeah. You ask for donations on the site.
Yeah. We get donations. Actually, I'm a volunteer myself. And the money that runs Wikipedia, the vast majority of the money is from the small donors. So we're not funded by governments and we're not funded by billionaires. We're funded by people giving their $20.
And where did you get the idea to do this? I mean, how did this start within you?
Well, I was watching the growth of free software, open source software, as most people call it, and I realized that this kind of collaboration with some programmers coming together in new ways to work together on software ideas and projects, that kind of collaboration could extend to all kinds of cultural works. And I had the idea for the encyclopedia, and I got very excited.
And you made it happen.
Made it happen.
And the encyclopedia companies at the time thought this was a joke and this wasn't going to work, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, Britannica was fantastic, quite old-fashioned, quite stodgy. It took them obviously several years to put out a new edition, and suddenly we're able to adapt on the fly as we go.
It tracks a bit with the story of Amazon, where booksellers and Barnes & Nobles, the big guys, sort of laughed at Jeff Bezos until he overtook them and really took over the world in a sense when it comes to commerce. I do want to ask you, has anyone ever tried to buy Wikipedia? Have people offered you money for it?
Not really seriously. I would say in the early days there was one VC who was like, oh, well, you know, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, well,
could be a
we're
profit
charity,
center.
so, you know, like,
and you said no way.
No way, yeah.
Pretty incredible. Okay, so I wanted to ask you those questions so the viewers at home sort of got a sense of why you did this and why you started this. So now here are some tough questions. Can you trust Wikipedia?
Well, I think we try to be as trustworthy as we can. You know, one of the interesting things about Wikipedia is we'll put up a banner that says, the following section doesn't cite any sources, or the neutrality of this article has been disputed. And that seems like it might reduce trust, but we think it increases trust. Like when we're not sure, we try to tell you we're not sure. And, you know, I think the other key for Wikipedia is we insist on reliable sources, and we've got all the links at the bottom, and you can go and check, and hopefully everything in Wikipedia should have a good source.
So this is interesting because a lot of people have criticized you. I mean, this is not new, right? Yeah. People like Elon Musk have called it Wokepedia. Even one of your co-founders, Larry Sanger, has criticized it as well. And we actually looked into this. I mean, there's a page on Wikipedia which shows how open you are about ideological bias. And this is what we found. It says, it reads in part, research shows that Wikipedia is prone to neutrality violations caused by bias from its editors, including systemic bias. How do you respond to that? Is Wikipedia biased?
Yeah, of course. Like, I think all human publications will have some form of bias or other, and I think the best you can really do is try really hard to figure out where you've biased. You know, a systemic bias generally means you haven't noticed it because it's the water you're swimming in. It's like journalism. In journalism, obviously journalists get criticized of bias, but good journalists work really hard to say, well, no, we're trying to be fair, we're trying to gather all the facts. And yeah, of course, will overlook things, and you come from a certain background, but you know, the best you can do is try really hard.
In your view, what do you think it is? Is it a liberal bias? Is it a conservative bias?
I mean, Elon Musk says it's a mainstream media bias, so however biased the mainstream media is, maybe that's it. We also worry about bias just in terms of we want to have more different types of people editing Wikipedia. We're largely male, 80% or so. So we want more women contributing to Wikipedia. We're global, so we need diversity across languages. We've got people all around the world. You know, there's a lot of challenges, and really our view is the best way to combat bias is to be open and welcoming and have that dialogue with people. If people come in and they say, oh, this article, this has got a problem. Oh, great, let's help us fix it. Like, what do you see wrong? What are some sources we should look at? So if we give up that spirit of being passionate about neutrality, then we would be in trouble.
How much of your job is fact-checking? I mean, are people calling you up and saying, hey, this was written about Joe Smith in Illinois, or, hey, the description of the Israel-Gaza war seems to be biased? I mean, how much are you getting bothered?
Oh, I mean, some. I mean, I'm just one person, and my job is sort of going out and talking to the world and so on and so forth. But the Wikipedians deal with that kind of thing every day. You know, it's people come in and they say, oh, this article's terrible, and they're like, okay, let's work on this and this and that.
There's a complaint department? I mean, people can complain?
Yeah, people can email us, and that gets passed along to the community in the right way.
How many complaints do you guys get? Do you even know? Have you ever tracked that?
No, I have no idea.
Millions? I mean...
Well, it'd be hard to measure because sometimes people just come on the talk page and say, oh, this is a source, you might want to look at it. Is that a complaint? You know, yeah.
And with billions of views, I mean, that's got to be hard to manage.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Do you feel though that overall Wikipedia is a trusted source that people should go to?
I think broadly so. I mean, certainly people do go to Wikipedia, and we do feel that weight quite heavily of like, okay, we've become part of the infrastructure of the world, so we really need to be very serious about trying to do a great job, try to improve Wikipedia in every way that we can. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Is it what you envisioned it to be?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, it's interesting because the idea of an encyclopedia is one that everybody understands what an encyclopedia should be like, and Wikipedia tries to be that. So if you say, you know, encyclopedia article about the Eiffel Tower, you sort of know already what's that going to look like. It's going to have the history and who the architect was and what was the reception, and there should be a couple of pictures and so forth. Yeah. And so that vision is pretty much the same. And we haven't become, you know, TikTok or anything like that. We're just kind of like text and pictures and so forth.
Let's talk about your great book. I want to lay out for the audience the 7 rules of trust that you write about. You say in order to be trusted, people should make it personal, work with human nature, have a strong, clear, positive purpose, give trust in order to get trust, practice civility, be independent, and be transparent. Let's talk about independence, which, is a rule that you share with journalism. We're all supposed to be independent. You write this: when there is a serious dispute about the facts, Wikipedia sticks with what it knows are facts. It says one side says this, and it says the other side says that. But Wikipedia does not say which side is right. It's neutral.
Yeah, ideally, we should never sort of pick sides in a dispute. We should categorize what are all the different legitimate sides in the debate.
But what happens when there's no facts on one side of one side? What happens when there's no facts on one of the sides?
Oh, I mean, our idea of neutrality is not a naive, the moon. Some say rocks, some say cheese. Who knows? I think you do have to make an editorial judgment that some views are just not really serious. But you have to be careful about that. You don't want to dismiss views. You want to sort of say, okay, there are these different perspectives on the issue. Usually it's not that hard. Sometimes, of course, it requires a lot more thought.
Let's talk about that, because you write a lot about practicing civility, right? And that's very tough, especially in our times when things are so divided. The country has always been divided, but now with social media it can be amplified with the media as well. You write, real civility simply means doing at least the minimum required to acknowledge the other person as a fellow human being. Civility simply demands that we put the focus on the substance of the disagreement, not on the people disagreeing. That's a tall order in the social media ecosystem. I mean, how do we start doing that?
Yeah, I mean, well, social media, one of the problems we have with social media is that the algorithms tend to prioritize and reward people for engagement, which often means annoying people and causing a big stir and so on and so forth. At Wikipedia, that's just not how any of it works. If you come to Wikipedia and you start being obnoxious, people just say, that's not what we do here, and you're not going to get millions of followers, so calm down and let's have a conversation. And I think most people really like that. I mean, I think we're seeing right now a lot of people turning away from social media because they do feel like it's just too toxic. It's just not fun anymore.
How do you stay relevant when there's ChatGPT and AI is conquering the internet?
Well, I use ChatGPT and Gemini and all of these things quite often myself. What I find is that my use case is very different. I love to cook, so I ask ChatGPT to help with recipes, but I always warn people, you better know how to cook before you start asking for recipes from ChatGPT, because it gets things wrong and you might have a disaster on your hands. If you want to go on a trip and you ask for an itinerary and things like that, it's quite good at that. If you ask it basic factual questions, it's probably okay. But the deeper you go, the more obscure the topic, the more likely it is to hallucinate, as the technical term they call it. It gets things wrong a lot.
Speaking of that and sort of the dangers of AI, before we go, I do want to ask you, are you afraid of one day someone creating an AI chatbot or an AI system that will go to Wikipedia and simply destroy it with misinformation, with disinformation, and just work harder and longer than the Wikipedians?
Not really. I mean, we have tools in place. We've been around for nearly 25 years now, and people have come, with denial of service attacks with large bot farms, and we know how to block that and so on and so forth. The community has a lot of tools. So I'm not too worried about that. Obviously, we have to keep an eye on it and be very thoughtful about it. But it's very different from a social media landscape where you can create an army of bots to just sort of shout things down. We don't think we'll have a problem with that.
Okay, I hope you're right. Jimmy Wales, we thank you so much. You have the new book coming out, The Rules of Trust, which is 7 Rules of Trust, which is really interesting. We thank you for being here. When we come back, as trick-or-treaters get ready to make their rounds, some might be finding more than just candy in their bags this year. Why the spooky spud is becoming a new Halloween treasure, we'll explain. And tonight, we're diving into what was once a trick, apparently now a treat, as kids get ready to head out across the country. Some households planning to pass out potatoes alongside candy, as many trick-or-treaters seem to want the spuds over sweets. Here's Emily Aketa.
Every
Halloween, kids in costume fill their baskets with a smorgasbord of sweets. But there's a new star of the spooky season.
Pick whatever you want. You can grab two.
That is kids saying trick or tater.
Did you just get a potato?
Yeah. Videos of homeowners handing out potatoes on Halloween have been sprouting up on social media in recent years, leaving some puzzled, but surprisingly most ecstatic.
You want more potatoes? Who wants more potatoes? Candy or a potato?
Pat Foy has become known as Potato Man in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
I say to everybody, candy or potato, and they say things like potato all day. The little toddlers, they look at it like stunned.
And former longtime NBC News correspondent Kevin Tibbles has been handing out the starchy spuds for more than 2 decades.
It started out as a joke. If you want to come back and get second helpings of candy, you're going to get threatened with a potato. The next thing I know, everybody wants a potato.
What have you learned from passing out potatoes?
Everyone's got a good sense of humor, even me, and I'm the crabbiest guy on the block. But when I whip out a potato, everybody's got a smile on their face.
Happy Halloween.
As more trick-or-treaters are poised to strike Yukon gold. Emily Ikeda, NBC News.
Thanks so much for watching Top Story. I'm Tom Llamas in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.